Hello and greetings, cultural explorers. Get ready to ride exhilarating cross cultural currents as we dive into student living abroad. I'm your host, Om, sharing the unfiltered truth through the Global Citizen Diaries. In this episode, we head to Germany to uncover one Moroccan student's eye opening Orient meets Occident journey. What's in store as Badro straddles these distinct worlds? Brew your mint tea and grab your lederhosen as we find out. Grab your passports, and here we go. So, Badro, first of all, welcome to our show. Could you walk us through about basic information about you and what you're studying here in Germany?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Om, for having me today. So, my name is Badro. I'm from Morocco. I'm currently 20 years old. And I moved into Germany a little more than a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I study here at IU, Business and IT.
Okay. And if I'm not wrong, you are in the Bad Honnef campus, right?
I am in Bad Honnef campus, full-time studies.
Okay, that's good. So, could you walk us through what took you from Moroccan sands to German university halls? Like, what sparked this entire global transition?
Well, I've always wanted to come here to Germany because I was born here. My
Mm-hmm.
grandpa lived here in Germany, so I always wanted to come here and be closer to him. I used to come
Okay.
visit him during the summers, and I loved Germany since
Mhm.
I can remember since I was a kid. And
Okay.
so I thought of a way of coming here and living here, and for me, studying here was the best option at that moment.
Okay. So, what early academic adjustments did you face? Style differences in German classes compared to what you had in Morocco.
Well, I was expecting it to be very different. I mean, the German educational system is in the world for be one of the most efficient ones. So
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting a lot of change. I was expecting a lot of new things that I had to get used to. But to be honest, even though I had my expectations and I was ready to face those expectations, when I came here, I did find more surprises.
Okay. So, you had your previous education back in Morocco, right? Like up until the high school?
Yeah, true.
Okay. So, what on an average that you would compare the university setup in Germany versus Morocco? What key advantages or disadvantages did you notice?
Here in Germany, I think the biggest advantage is the international universities. The possibility to meet new people, to meet new ideas, new cultures. I think if I had stayed in Morocco, I wouldn't have that possibility. I would stay in the same bubble I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
But coming here and meeting new people, it really broadens your mind, your knowledge, and things you know or things you can do. Having
Okay.
an international community is far better than having your own community in some ways. But also, there are obviously disadvantages, such as being away from home. Sometimes the cultural shocks are very big and you can't really get used to it. Although we've been here for more than a year, I think it's a bit difficult also, to get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if everything goes well, I think everyone can get used to this, and everyone can succeed their studies here in Germany.
Okay. So, you did this entire admission process and visa process on your own, or did you hire some agent to get you through this transition?
I did everything on my own.
Mm-hmm.
but I know that some of my other friends did them through agencies. To be
Okay.
honest, in Morocco, I haven't heard of an agency that does it for Germany.
Okay.
I do know they do it for other countries.
Mm-hmm.
I was also planning to go study in the UK. And to go study to the UK, you have to go through an agency because it's very difficult. I'll be honest, it wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't easy. It was very long, a very uncertain procedure. You know, you're all the time doubting if something is wrong or why haven't they answered me yet or something like that.
Okay.
But I would say that doing it by yourself is an experience on its own.
Okay, that's interesting. Could you walk us through, like, quickly about some early obstacles that you faced with the enrollment paperwork or the visa process for a Moroccan person who is planning to come to Germany to study? What exactly are the phases that he needs to go through?
'Cause every country has its own differences.
Mm-hmm.
In Morocco, I would say the most difficult part or my biggest obstacle was the visa process. The visa process, for example, lasts from 6 to 10 months.
Oh, that's long.
So that's very long, exactly. So you're constantly doubting whether they're going to give you a visa or not. And obviously, you're studying on at the same time, you know, that you applied for the visa. And
Mm-hmm.
so they have expectations of you, of your grades, of whether you can speak German or not, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to keep up those expectations. So for
Okay.
Moroccans, I can say that for 80% of the time, you'll have to take a gap year or an
Mhm.
extra year in Morocco so that your visa gets ready. But yeah, most definitely, to answer your question, visa is the most difficult problem I faced.
Okay, all right. So, how intensive was the language learning curve that you mentioned right now to adapting, to the fluent German for lectures or in daily life versus compared to the Arabic or French lectures in school and universities you have back home?
It was a huge change. So because I came to an English university, I never had a course in German, but I
Okay.
do speak a bit of German and socialize with people outside of university in German. To answer your question, when it comes to university, it was hard for me because I grew up learning mathematics or physics in French. And
Mm-hmm.
when doing that in English, it was a big change, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
the biggest change was probably the words, you know? For example, they teach you, let's say, arithmetics or integrals, and you know the things, but now they're taught in English and it's new words, or the formulas have new names, and you have to get used to that. But
Okay.
at first, it's not as easy as you might think.
What is the most go to or used German word that you use in daily life?
Oh, easily. Ach so.
Ach so.
Ach so. Uh, I started using that even when talking with my parents in French, or when talking in Arabic or in English with my friends. I
Mhm.
would always be like, ach so. Also, I think it's the most used one out of every other word, for sure.
And let's say for a person who is completely new listening to us today, what would be the one word that you would also teach them so they could have, like, a go-to word for themselves in German? A word or a phrase, it's fine.
Yeah, that's interesting. Apart from ach so,
Mm-hmm.
most the sentence I use the most is ich weiß nicht, which means I don't know. Because most of the time I don't know what they're saying,
Okay.
or I don't understand. Ich verstehe nicht. But like to learn just a word just out of the blue, no. You either speak German or not. Trust me.
Uh-huh. Okay. That's impressive. But on behalf of all the listeners or viewers and all the people who are actually planning to move to Germany, the first question that sparks them is whether or not they would be facing all these things alone, and that's is scary. So, just to for them, did you join any German or international student clubs to ease the social transition in the university, and how did they impact your experience?
I didn't join any clubs. or anything. I actually never even researched any possible clubs that I could join and everything. But if
Mm-hmm.
I could give you an advice about that, if I can give anyone who's listening an advice,
Mm-hmm.
is making friends the first day. That would help you a lot, a lot. Like I made my friend group the first day at university, and we went through everything together. The city registration, the Ausländerbehörde, the immigration office, the
Mm-hmm.
insurance, the bank accounts, the everything. We did together. We even went to appointments like with each other. Although it wasn't, I went with my friend, for example, to the bank. Although it wasn't my appointment, he went with me to the immigration office. I went with another friend to city registration. I think most importantly is the first day you arrive, you
Mm-hmm.
should have one concern, and it's to make friends. That's
Okay.
all you should do. Or you can also, just like you mentioned, join a club or a community beforehand before you come to Germany. That's also
Mm-hmm.
helpful. But nothing compares to having like a physical friend or a physical friend group that would guide you through all the procedures you have to take.
Okay, okay. So that is quite impressive for all our listeners and viewers. You are never going to walk alone. And if you make friends, you are never alone truly here in Germany. But moving on, how do the graduates or the job prospects and salaries compare between Morocco and Germany? Does the Germany work culture welcome foreign students into their workforce?
As far as I can tell, they
Mm-hmm.
do. They
Okay.
do. They actually they appreciate like international students because they bring more than just they're not just workers, but also new ideas, new ways of doing things. I think Germany is more welcoming than Morocco, obviously, because
Mm-hmm.
of its international community. Here in Germany, we're studying in English, but we know that we can find jobs in English. Other
Mm-hmm.
countries, such as Morocco, for example, if you study in English, I can't tell you that you will find a job just in English. You might have to speak another language.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of salaries, obviously here they pay more,
Mm-hmm.
but the expenses are also bigger. So I think what I always used to tell my friends, I think the world is on the same level. If you
Mm-hmm.
make 3,000 euros here, you're not going to get 3,000 euros. You know, you're going to pay taxes, pay your rent, pay your insurance. And at the end, you're going to have the same amount of money if you stayed in Morocco or any other country. The opportunities, I got to say, the career prospects here are bigger, are better.
Mm-hmm. How would you break down the monthly expenses for an average individual so that they can actually plan how much money that they should keep in mind about spending in an entire month?
Okay. So let's start with the biggest expense, which is rent.
Rent, of course.
Rent can go from 300 euros if you're extremely lucky, if you're the luckiest person on earth, I think. 300, 350 euros up to 700 euros for something very small, you know? A VG, for example, it's a shared apartment, and those are the best options for students because you live with someone and you're not alone, which is a huge plus.
Mm-hmm.
And those tend to go from 400 to 500 euros, 550 sometimes. Also, university dorms, they range at the same level. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say on average, you're going to pay 480 euros. Then
Mm-hmm.
your second biggest expense will be insurance.
Okay.
Insurance is 120 euros.
Take it standard 120 euros.
It's almost standard. Let's say 120 euros. Now you're at 600 euros of fixed expenses. These are fixed expenses that no matter what you do, no matter if you're in Germany or not, these you'll have to pay. You know, even if you go back to your country for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, you'll have to pay for rent and insurance. And
Mm-hmm.
then comes secondary expenses such as your phone plan, Wi-Fi maybe in your house.
Mm-hmm.
Those could range from 20 to 30 euros.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it's 25, just to have it like on average. So
Okay.
we're already at 625 euros. After that, it's basically how much you can save and how much you want to spend.
Okay, so on an average, we could sum up to all the calculations, and we could say around 900, 950 euros.
950 euros. It's actually the legal amount that you should bring as an international student.
Okay, okay, all right. And speaking of the expenses, and also as we discussed previously about the job prospects, how would you rate the tax systems here in Germany on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 is being bad.
Oh, then 10.
Oh,
I mean, let's not lie. Germany has one of the highest taxed. It's one of the highest taxed countries in Europe.
okay.
It's understandable. I'm not gonna lie. If I was a German citizen, if I lived here, or if I want to live here, I would pay those taxes, even though they're high. But I'll be honest, it's for a cause. You know, you can see your money. You can see what kind of. The school system is free, and it's one of the best school educational systems in the world. University is free also. Public transport is not free, but it's good. You know, when it's working. I mean, Deutsche Bahn is never working, but when it's working, you can see that the infrastructure, hospitals also, like the infrastructure is existing, and you can see like where your money is spent. It could be better, obviously. Nothing is perfect, but
Mhm.
it's something, you know. It's already a step forward towards what you want your money to be spent on. So
Okay.
as a student, you would pay taxes and maybe you won't feel good about it at the beginning. But if you plan to live here in Germany, then obviously, yeah, you should pay your taxes, and then it's actually a good thing because you'll see where your money goes.
Last question for this questionnaire. If you could study this experience again, like if you could undo this move, would you still choose Germany or consider any other country instead for studies and living abroad?
That's a tough question because if I say yes, I would consider some other place. You would think that Germany is not good. But to be honest, me personally, I wouldn't choose another place because I know the career prospects here in Germany and they
Mm-hmm.
are better than other places. Personally, if you ask me that if I could go back in time, I would still come to Germany,
Hmm,
knowing everything I know, yeah.
that's interesting. So this brings us to the close of the clean version, what we call here, about the questionnaire about how job prospects are, the taxes, living expenses, and everything. Before we move on to the next questionnaire, I have a few rapid fire questions that I would love to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to answer the first thing that comes to your mind or choose between the two options, whatever you like the most.
Okay.
So here we start with the rapid fire round with Badro. Let's start. German winter sports or year round Moroccan sunshine?
Year-round Moroccan sunshine.
Uh-huh. German orderliness or Moroccan improvising?
Moroccan improvising.
Okay. The German nightlife or Moroccan hospitality?
Moroccan hospitality.
That's good. Traditional tea rituals or German beer gardens?
Traditional tea rituals.
Ah, that's good. Lively Moroccan markets or German supermarket efficiency?
German supermarket efficiency.
Okay, that's good. Pristine German cities or Moroccan medieval architecture?
Moroccan medieval architecture, for sure.
Okay. Vibrant Moroccan chaos or scheduled German plans?
Scheduled German plans.
Mm-hmm. Moroccan mint tea or the reliable German coffee?
Mint tea, for sure.
Hey. Moroccan spiritual warmth or the German scientific logic?
Scientific logic.
Right. And last but not the least, Moroccan familial loyalty or German individualism?
Familiar loyalty.
That's good. So that brings us to the close of the rapid fire questions. And now we move on to the teen version of questions about the social life here in Germany.
Hmm.
So we start with this questionnaire. As an outgoing Moroccan abroad, how much effort did it take for developing a German social circle, or did you face any barriers?
A German social circle, it took me a while, but an international social circle, that was done in a day, just like I said earlier. That was first day because everyone's international, no one knows anyone, so everyone wants to be friends.
Okay, all right. And how about the food here in Germany for a Moroccan? Like, could you get Moroccan food ingredients readily available in the stores in here in Germany, or any specific Moroccan restaurants that are available?
Yeah. Thank God everything is available because I'm not gonna lie, like Germany is good in a lot of things, but food is not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, thank God there's like options not only for Moroccans, but there's Moroccan food, there's food, Indian food, Chinese, whatever you want. It's optional, Latino food. Everything is available, and I really am very grateful for that because food here it's only salt and pepper.
Okay.
That's not enough for us, people that come from more cultural diverse countries.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I would say the most asked question or the most trending question: what is dating like in Germany? For better or worse, did religious and cultural backgrounds pose challenges, or do you feel like, the Germans stick to the Germans for date, or did you see like cross intercultural or international relationships as well?
There's obviously cross international couples and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say that mostly I saw like Germans staying with Germans. That is not true. But it is more than the average. Like if you'd look at average couples or average couple ethnicities, it's mostly like German with German. But obviously, international or international like couples also exist. Like love knows no boundaries, I guess.
Okay. And moving from bustling Morocco to orderly Germany, talk about the polar opposite etiquette around time management, making plans, late nights out, etc. What gaps were the toughest that you feel?
Like socially, right?
Yes.
Well, it depends on the cultures, right? Like in Morocco, when we would agree with friends to meet at a restaurant at 9 p.m., no one would show up at 9 p.m.
Okay.
The soonest someone would come is maybe 9:30 with some luck. But here in Germany, it's very like on time. If you have a date, if you have a plan with someone at 9, you should be there at 8:50 or 8:45. So it's very different.
Okay. Circling back, food wise, what local dishes did you come to enjoy in Germany? Anything you desperately missed from back home that you would like to, bring it here?
Obviously, when you think of Moroccan food, you think of tagines.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing I thought of, and luckily, because there's shops and there's options here, that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best way of recreating your own food is cooking. You call your mom on WhatsApp video, and she guides you through the whole cooking lesson.
So this brings us to the end of the questionnaire. But lastly, one last question that I would love to ask Badro. Um, what is the one piece of valuable advice that you would give to a person who is moving to Germany or abroad in Europe or anywhere else from Morocco that you think would be beneficial for them?
So, if I could give an advice to anyone moving to Germany, not only Moroccans but anyone, is to learn German. Because I feel like when you move to a new country, you either choose to be part of that country, be part of that culture, or not. And I'm not gonna lie, being part of the German culture without speaking German is very difficult. And I personally think it's impossible. So if I could give you an advice, is to start right now. Download Duolingo, but don't stop just there. Go to German courses and learn German. There's this saying, people think that Germans are very tight when it comes to like their language. When you talk to them, they're always like, oh, sprichst du Deutsch? Nein, you don't speak German? What are you doing here in Germany then? It is right. Like, if you go to somebody else's country, you should speak their language. I think that's the biggest piece of advice I got, and I would also want to tell that to the people.
And lastly, something in your own language, whether it be French, that you would like to say to our listeners and viewers. Podium is all yours.
Okay, yeah. إذا شي واحد كيسمعني من المغرب, if someone listens from Morocco, كنصحكم تهضروا يعني بالألمانة, ضروري مهم بزاف. هنايا لي جون يبار با اوتون فرونسي كو يعني تقدر تخيلوا. يعني كنتمنى اذا كنتو ماجين المانيا تهضروا بالالمانه، وكنظن راه توفيق بزاف، راه غادي تنجحوا في اي حاجه بغيتو تعملوها هنايا في المانيا. Yeah, and that's about it for me.
What an eye-opening glimpse into fusing German efficiency with Moroccan hospitality. Huge thanks to Badro for taking us along his remarkable journey. I don't know about you listeners, but I'm feeling culturally enriched. Maybe it's time to expand borders and connect with global neighbors too. Until our next discovery, passport in hand and dreams in your eyes, this is Om signing off. Stay bold, stay tuned.